How do you judge this cover? We have Star Wars, The Mandalorian Armor. This is book 1 of the Bounty Hunter Wars. Can you guys see that pretty good?
I can see it.
Okay, so I don't know if I should go first or if somebody else would like to take the lead, and we can work around in a circle here. You want me to?
I'll go.
You want to go first? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, then Adam, then Noah, Star Raptor, and then I'll give my little go.
It's one of those classic Bantam covers. Not the best Bantam cover, but I love this era of Star Wars when it came to the covers. It was just every one of them. It was like Photoshop, but at the same time they were like paintings. It's just I just find it a nostalgic era. This is when my parents would read Star Wars to me when I was a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
This is how I got into Star Wars.
That's cool. So, does this art do you like it? Is it?
Yeah,
I
we've seen so many bad Star Wars covers, mainly that early 2000s era where it was just straight Photoshop.
Yeah.
This, to me, it's not, like I said, it's not the best of the Bantam era, but it's really still quality work.
Okay. So, Adam, what do you think of this art? Is it something that you would pick up off the shelf if you just saw it sitting there?
I've actually seen that on the shelf quite a few times. Like when I go into my local bookstore, I've seen it, and I do like the cover. I like the Vader kind of looming over everything in the background, and I do agree with Jeremy. I like the retro vibe that it gets, and where it could be Photoshop, but it's like touched up in a way, kind of like whenever you like a later in the EU where you get like an older Luke Skywalker where it looks kind of like Photoshop, but then you can see that they kind of age Mark Hamill away. Kind of like I get that vibe that it's like it's being that it had some small tweaking, but a little bit of Photoshop with it as well. But I like it. I do like it.
Yeah. Noah, how do you judge this cover?
Not much to add. I think Jeremy said it best. I would say this book, I would definitely pick it up based on the artwork if I'm a fan of the bad guys.
Yeah.
Because this makes it pretty obvious who's going to be in focus of the story.
Yeah.
And it's just an interesting thing with this new character that's only introduced in this book being on the cover, which I like.
Okay. Yeah. No one's mentioned that character yet. So, Chris, looking at that cover, would you pick that book up and read it?
Yeah, I think I probably would, just based on the characters. As a huge Boba Fett fan, but also a huge fan of Dengar. I remember that was one of the earliest Hasbro action figures I had, was that Dengar. That I would literally bring that figure with me to when we went clothes shopping with my sister or getting new shoes or something. Like I would just be playing with the figure to keep me occupied. So I have a soft spot for Dengar. So anything related to bounty hunters at all, I was automatically on board with. I might have seen this as well around some places, but I think it's interesting how Darth Vader is such a looming presence. I don't know anything about this book. Like I haven't read a lot of EU, especially this kind of stuff. But it's interesting to see that Darth Vader is front and center there. Even his tie advance is there. And I have no idea who that female character is. But it's also neat seeing how the background is a different kind of color, I think, for a Star Wars book, that yellowish hue. So it's definitely interesting. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen that pose from Boba Fett. I don't know if it's exactly pulled from a movie or anything. Like, I think that's a different kind of pose he's in with the way that he's handling the weapon there. So it's pretty cool how they put a little bit more effort in actually, creating his look rather than just like copy and paste from like a certain trading card or something like that. So yeah, I would definitely pick it up, especially since it's book 1 of the Bounty Hunter War. So chances are I'm going to pick book 1 up rather than, like, let's say book 3, having not read any of the other books. So yeah. I think it's a good start.
Yeah. See, I like the cover as well. I think Vader definitely has just the way that he looks in this cover looks intimidating. He's obviously very large, overpowering, and he's going to be telling these guys what to do. I'm sure Dengar is funny. He just, every time I see him on something, I have to giggle because a friend of mine back in the day used to get toilet paper, wrap it around his head, and he'd say, I'm Dengar, and it's like, okay, you're not
Dengar. I was gonna say, like, this is making me think, like, since this is like with him and the bounty hunters, like, and he hires them for Empire Strikes Back. I wonder if this goes into detail about like why Vader goes to Boba Fett in Empire Strikes Back specifically and says no disintegrations. Like, I wonder if these, I wonder if these bounty hunter books like
explore that stuff even further. I mean, I would hope so. I don't know anything about it. And like one of you guys mentioned the female character in the front. My first thought went to Ghostbusters, a little bit like Gozer on the cover there. Just imagine Darth Vader saying, "Are you a god?" And she's like, "Yes, actually." But I think the story looks interesting. Like, I would definitely pick this book up, thinking that this is going to be probably taking place either before or after the events of The Empire Strikes Back. Like, this, maybe Vader's trying to get his list of bounty hunters that he's wanting to choose to go find the guys, or maybe they're fighting over this Han and Carbonite. Like, maybe Boba Fett's on his way to deliver to Jabba the Hutt, and maybe there's just a war going on.
That actually happened in the Shadows of the Empire comics.
Oh, okay.
Which I read, and recent last 2 years, I picked that up, the trade paperback, and it's a great story. Him just in Slave One with Han, and there's just everybody's coming after him, from Fro LM to the Gand, Zuckuss to IG-88 to Dengar to everybody's after him. It's great.
So, you guys that have read the book, what is it about?
Well, it's set in two timelines. One story is set shortly after A New Hope, and that's the Bounty Hunter Wars storyline. And the other part is set after Episode 6.
Oh.
When Boba is rescued by Dengar from the Sarlacc.
Really?
In my opinion, this trilogy brings up a lot of cool things. It's horribly boring. I can't finish it, and that's saying something because I have a lot of perseverance. There are some really fascinating things in here, and this is like the only trilogy I can think of that's focused as Boba Fett's the protagonist of it. And it goes into really weird Star Wars stuff that the Bantam era did, and I appreciate that. Like, spider aliens are in this and stuff. I'm trying not to give too much away because there are some really interesting things, but me personally, I don't care for K.W. Jeter's style of writing in this. This is the only trilogy that Jeter wrote for Star Wars.
Yes, because I do really much like this trilogy. But Jeter writes a lot of internal dialogue monologues. And that's not for everyone.
I can take it some of the time, but it happens far too frequently for my taste.
But I would still say the story itself is pretty good, and his character work and stuff.
Yes, and it does have an impact in the EU. In fact, writer Wynnum, for instance, actually starts setting this up in a throwaway children's series, with the Fetts not really getting along with what would become of the Guild. Because that's a whole thing, is Boba Fett finds it awful that there's a bounty hunter guild.
Interesting.
Well, let's move on to the next one, shall we?
I was gonna say, though, I will probably have to pick that up next time I see it at the store.
Yeah, there's two more. This is the first.
The 3-in-1 hardcover from Sci-Fi Book Club is this cover specifically too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just so you know, because it's a German copy, it's the Han Solo Adventures trilogy by Brian Daley.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And this cover.
Oh no.
Oh,
that is bland.
Ooh.
That's awful.
Ooh.
That's almost as bad as the new Dr. Aphra audiobook that got translated into text. Do you know what I'm talking about, Matt?
Wait, hold on.
That looks like it should
Our
be
rapper
called.
just said that something was bad. This is the first time I've ever heard.
breaking news there.
I was gonna say that should be called like Solo Noir or something like that.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. It does not look like anything that you'd want to pick up, and it just doesn't scream Star Wars. I mean,
yeah, I know. It's just
obviously
like
so
half
lazy.
of him is cut off. Like,
Yeah,
the heck's up with that?
in black
mean,
and white, and everything
What's up with the
else
black
is red.
random rectangle behind him? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
no. Was the top of that paper black too, or was it shadow that I saw?
Where?
The paper on the top. I guess okay. When you put the book down some, it looked like the paper was lined in black. Maybe that's just my screen. Yeah, that's a very horrible cover.
Oof.
Is that the only German copy of that?
Oh no, there are a couple more. They look better.
Okay.
But it's just awful.
Wow.
Yeah, that doesn't. Yeah, I wouldn't pick that one up. I'm sorry. Skip.
It kind of looks like it would start off. It was a dark and stormy night, you know.
Yeah,
Bland.
that is very bad.
Yeah.
Labyrinth of Evil.
Oh, that's
yeah.
sweet.
I mean, this cover. I mean, I think it looks neat. We got Grievous, who his mask really looks, from this art, like bone. I don't know if that's what it always looks like up close, but it looks creepy. I don't know what's going on with Anakin's eyes. They're a little bit too red, like he's all teared up there. But I mean, it looks like this book's going to be a lot of chasing back and forth between Grievous and Anakin.
Anakin must have sand in his eyes.
That's probably what he's going to try out. Grievous just has the Visine, and he's running from him, and he needs to get it. But is that something new too on Grievous's mask there, where he's got these like little microphone-looking things sticking down?
Yeah, I don't notice them before.
I haven't either. But to me, the art's not the best. The characters look cool. Anakin looks a little teary-eyed, and Grievous very scary looking. I don't know what that is in the background. It looks like a warehouse with a spooky tree in front of it. I don't know. I'm having a hard time seeing what that is, but
It's Coruscant.
is it?
Like yeah.
I can see a spire. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the warehouse district from the end of Attack of the Clones.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. Oh, I can see how you thought that was a tree.
It's like a pine tree type thing with like an old spooky warehouse back there. But yeah, I'm not too impressed with the art. I do like the strange kind of strokes though, the paintbrush strokes that are on there. But the copy that I have all in front of me has a big sticker that's printed on there that says the must-read prequel to Star Wars Episode 3.
Yes, because it was marketed as that. It is definitely a lead-in book.
That's cool. I mean, it's good that they put that on there because that's going to get more people to buy it. You know, I think if there's that marketing on there, I don't know if this came out before Revenge of the Sith or afterwards, but
it did right before
Really?
the novel for Revenge of the Sith came out.
On the
oh,
back we have Kenobi.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys can see that or not up there.
oh yeah, I can see that. Yep.
Yeah.
I cannot.
Yeah, this was back when, in the prequel era, they would release the novels before the movie came out.
Good times.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the artwork looks pretty decent. I like the look on Anakin, his expression, because it looks like he's being tortured, like he's got this tortured mentality, like he's not sure, which falls right in line with Anakin. So, I mean, having watched Attack of the Clones, you know that he's going on a dark path, obviously, and you're wondering, you see this, like, what is he up to? What's he doing? Why is he looking like he's kind of scared, but also not sure?
Yeah. I don't know.
So
I
I
do
gotta
like
say-
the cup. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so I gotta say, this is probably my favorite of the Clone Wars book covers, because many of them, because they were the Photoshop covers and they didn't age well, and some of them didn't look good to begin with. But this one, I like very much. I like how Anakin looks. I like these. What did you call it, Matthew? brush strokes
Yeah, the
on
brush
their
strokes.
face.
Yeah.
Gives it a sort of painted look. It doesn't look too much like cheap Photoshop, like some of the other ones do.
It doesn't look like Yoda Dark Rendezvous. That's
Yes.
the one that immediately came to mind. But I think we've already shown on a previous episode.
Yeah, I think we did that. Same with like Approaching Storm. They just have a goofy look to them.
Or Cestus Deception.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I
do-
also like the colors and everything. The red
Yeah.
and Grievous, of course, looking intimidating.
Yeah, I agree.
I would be coming into this, I'm thinking of when this first came out, being at the time I was reading the Republic comics and knowing all of the horrors that Anakin has gone through already, and wondering, because this is the first novel in a while that dealt with Anakin. They sort of left him alone in the novels in the initial Clone Wars multimedia project. The only one I can think of is Jedi Trial, which is sort of right before he gets knighted, or right after, I can't remember.
Before.
Which is also different now because of Filoni's Clone Wars bumped the timeline around a little bit. But before this, the main novels that come to mind are Shatterpoint, which is a Mace Windu novel, Yoda Dark Rendezvous, which is a Yoda novel, which I think came out after this, or in the same year. I'm not sure. And Cestus Deception, which is an Obi-Wan Kit Fisto novel. It's the only one that is a Kit Fisto any story.
Well, this story, for the guys that have read it, what's the deal with the microphone things? Is that just early concept art that the artist got a hold of? And
yeah, I think Grievous in some of the comics also has that. Grievous was a new character. He doesn't show up in the Republic comics at all. He showed up in a mini series called Revelations, and he's horrifying in that. Then he had his own mini series called General Grievous, where literally almost every character that you care about dies.
Well, guys, you know what? Here's the silly part. That stuff that we're looking at right there with the microphone, which looks to me like, someone on stage has a little microphone that's in, real tiny thin thing. It's in the film.
I've never paid that much
I'm looking
attention
at images from Revenge of the Sith, and it's there.
I was about to say, because there's an episode in season 1 of the Clone Wars where Grievous has a hideout, and he has like multiple replacement parts.
Yes.
So I'm also thinking like, oh, maybe this was like one of his prior versions, and like he had another faceplate that got put on that didn't have that.
Wow.
I'm trying to think of.
Pay attention there.
This is it does a couple things. It is to explain where Anakin and Obi-Wan are prior to going to the Battle of Coruscant. It's to lead up into the Battle of Coruscant.
That business on Kid and Amoya.
Origin, kind of. But it also has some awful contradictions in it with Gingy Chertovsky's show.
That's not really Lucino's fault.
No, it is a big... Gingy Chertovsky's people didn't talk to Filoni. Not Filoni, Lucino.
Wasn't it like Lucino wrote like a first draft of the story and the battle at the end? And that's what Tartakovsky's people based it on? The episodes? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because like...
rewrote it and it was a little bit different.
Yeah. Different Jedi are with Palpatine. The Royal Guards are with him in the book, which is different from the show. I'm trying to remember the show. I've read this more recently than I've seen the end of Chertovsky's Clone Wars. The whole thing with Anakin rescuing those aliens is not in the book. Dooku basically sets the trap, and like that's what the book is sort of about. And like,
it does mention the events, like the planet they are on.
Does it?
Yeah, at the very end.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, it's just a quick mention.
Probably. I mean, it's James Lucino, and I know he puts a lot of detail in, and you don't always see it in first read. That dude knows his EU. He knows his new canon too, and it's insane. It's like he reads everything 5 times before he writes something. Like I think of his New Jedi Order stuff, where he's just pulling stuff from like every Bantam book that was ever written.
Yes, because he even said he read all of them in preparation for New Jedi Order.
Wow.
Or
and you get like really little stuff, like background characters from the Black Fleet Crisis trilogy show up again in his books in New Jedi Order, and it's like, wow.
Or Darth Plagueis, which I think is his best book.
Oh yeah,
references a video game. He references, oh gosh, every comic that was like out at the time in the prequel era before Phantom Menace. It's all talked about. All but one novel pre-Phantom Menace is referenced because it wasn't written yet, which is why it's not in there. The Tales of the Jedi Old Republic stories are talked about. Knights of the Old Republic is brought in. Star Wars Bounty Hunter, the Kamari Vosa and the Bando Gora are talked about in it.
That is a freaking deep cut if I've ever heard one.
Oh yeah, God. You just read it and then you read it again and you just get more out of it.
I need to know more about the Bando Gora on Jango Fett, man. Come on, give me a canon story about that.
Yeah.
But you know, the thing with Labyrinth of Evil, what I find interesting, Lucino was just told write a prequel to Revenge of the Sith, and he wasn't really sure what to put in, and then he saw someone read like The Hunt for Red October in the bus, and he was like, yeah, you know what? That's gonna be my plot, The Hunt for Sidious, leading up to Revenge of the Sith.
Oh yeah, because it kicks off, they find the little like pedestal thing that Palpatine's hologram's in Phantom Menace.
Oh yeah.
That's what starts that. Okay. They're on Cato Nemoidia to tie in that the business on Cato Nemoidia.
Oh, they actually put that in there?
Oh,
wow, nice.
That happens in this.
That's great.
I was going to say, though, I would buy it based on that cover because I do like it. Like you said, Grievous looks really intimidating, and probably the winning factor is that it was written by Lucino, and I do like Lucino, so I'd definitely read that one.
Mm-hmm.